Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. Happy Husker Homer Friday. Welcome into the morning hookup. Bill Hooks, just as back on the ones and twos on a special Friday. Also, Elijah Herbal, he's there somewhere, probably trying to type in his codes and stuff.
I am here. My computer had to restart, so I am just working on getting into the studio. But I'm here and I've been here.
Oh, we know you have. We know you had a great night last night, didn't you? How was the night at the wedding, my man?
It was great as always. So no complaints about the wedding. Happy for Sam and Liv and their happy life. They're all set to spin together. Had a fantastic time. Some of the better catering that I've had at a wedding. So I'm not sure who did the catering, but it was good up there.
Listen, tell me more. Tell me more about food.
Okay, we had the spread, which I thought was great, which was just kind of what would I call it? Like finger food, but a whole bunch of it. So we had
finger looking goods, what you call
we had
that.
some salad, but then we had some some sliders with caramelized onions, and I don't know what type of cheese it was, but it was delicious.
Probably Gouda.
It was a white cheese, and then we had a Gouda mac and cheese that was very Gouda.
Oh baby,
we had like chicken skewers, we had meatballs, we had fried ravioli. They loaded up for us.
Tell me it was one of those things where they had the trays just like walking around to you, like just, hey, sir, would you like a chicken skewer?
Like the waiters with the hors d'oeuvres.
No, it was not that. It was like classic wedding fashion, a line that you went up and grabbed, but it was not like this table may go, this table may go, this table may go. Just sitting in the back, like, hey, you're hungry, go grab some. Oh, and they also had pretzels with a cheese sauce that were some of the better pretzels I think I've ever
Elisha
had.
felt like he was back at a Rockies game, is what I'm hearing.
All I needed was 9 beers and 9 hot dogs.
Well, that's
bad baseball.
And that's why you go to Rockies games these days. It's just for the hors d'oeuvres and the beers, and that's about it.
It's now the new world's largest outdoor cocktail party in Denver.
And a lot cheaper. Welcome in. A lot to get to today. World Cup last night. We'll get to that. We'll start off that here in a minute. A little NBA trades. The deadline stuff coming up, the draft, a lot more in there. Probably some college football as well today's. You guys can get into. We can talk about the portal window closing and all the other stuff happening in college football. Also, don't forget, we got the Almanac. Jeff Moats coming up in hour number 2 as well. As you can see, I'm not there. I'm out. You can't really see it. Kelly Field right behind me. We have state baseball going on back here. Right now, there's 8 fields of youth baseball going on right now. As we'll kick off here about 10 o'clock with our first game today. But thanks for hanging out with us on a Friday. World Cup last night. I have to tell you, like, we were totally engaged last night watching this match last night. U.S. does fall late in this one, unfortunately, to Turkey. I think that's how they say it now, not want to be associated with the bird anymore. So they rebranded themselves to a little bit different name and a country out there. Talk about this in a little bit. Obviously, there was some lineup differences. There were some inserts. We got the star back last night. He played in the second half of this. Boy, you can tell what a difference maker he is when he gets on the pitch out there. When I watched this last night, me and my boys watched this in a little bit. Obviously, I would say not too much at stake as far as the next round because you're already in. But there felt like there was a lot at stake. One for both of these teams. Turkey not wanting to leave empty-handed as a disappointing World Cup for them, as you know, coming in 0-2 with a chance to get a win. But also, there were some gentlemen for the U.S. last night that maybe wanted to prove themselves just a little bit in this one. Boy, what a physical match last night. And you could tell, boy, the refs were not on either side. They were letting a lot of stuff go, a lot of bullying around on the pitch. But ultimately, you lose in that very last 8th extra minute in this one. U.S. falls, but 2-1, they'll move on.
Well, and I'd say more positives than negatives for me coming away from this game. And let it be known, I was at a wedding. I didn't get to sit down and watch all 90 minutes, but I did catch a good chunk of this game. And the U.S., it was their B team. Let's make that first playing clear and obvious. You made 9 changes to your lineup from the last game. You were taking guys, you were preserving the legs, you were making sure there wasn't an accumulation of yellow cards. That was the B team. And hey, the B team, the back line, you hope those guys don't have to get pressed into action. It's the importance of why you don't want guys to pick up so many yellow cards that they have to be suspended, because that back line, the B team back line, suspect at best. Midfield still looked fine. The attack seemed to be just lacking a cutting edge. I think Christian Pulisic, good to see him back out there on the field, kind of getting his legs back under him before the knockout rounds. But all in all, I mean, no one got hurt. No one got suspended. You're healthy going into the knockout rounds, and you'll be able to get your A team back on the field with healthy legs underneath them. And at least you didn't risk your top guys against a team that was really, really hungry to get at least one win in the World Cup in Turkey.
Yeah, and that match had a recipe for something really bad to go wrong. But let it be known that Turkey also made 7 changes to their lineup. This was not a Turkey team rolling up to their complete A squad. They rotated. They were trying to find some different solutions. Arda Güler was unplayable last night. That guy, the two things you never want to give a player of class is time and space, and they gave him plenty of both, and that is never what you want to do. You said the midfield was fine. I was rather disappointed in the midfield. Gio Reyna had no grip on and no say in the game at all past the 10-minute mark. Weston McKennie did his best, but he was their only creative outlet. And then Seb Berhalter, people are going to laud at his attacking prowess, and they should, but he was the deep-lying playmaker. He was in that Tyler Adams role last night, and I thought he did a rather poor job of providing a layer of cover to the back line and really giving those guys a shield. And it really makes you realize the value of a guy like Tyler Adams, who is a sweeper, who is a destroyer, a layer of protection for that back line so they don't have to see as much. You realize the value of a guy like that when you watch a game like this where Turkey was so open, they were so vibrant and positive in attack. It felt like from the 10-minute mark on, Turkey had a lot of options and the U.S. did not, and then the U.S. made a quick counter. The positive is the U.S. again looked dangerous from set pieces last night. They looked really good when it came to a goal straight off of the training ground in the second minute, and then Seb Berhalter getting a rebounder in the 49th like that. All of that was good. That came in from a long throw-in. So the U.S. looked dangerous from set pieces, but, man, that back line outside of a decent performance from Austin Trusty was not great. Rather poor performance from a guy with a good level in Mark McKenzie, who I thought would have a better performance. Miles Robinson, that's about par for what I expected because, listen, if you're going into this next World Cup cycle, the center back position is open for you to break through and make the U.S. men's national team when you look at the depth this squad has. The top end is up there with some of the best in CONCACAF, certainly up there with some of the mid to upper level teams globally. So the U.S. has a great top level. I'm not so sure about the depth, and this is what that reminded you. Joe Scally wasn't super amazing. Tim Weah had a rather shocking performance for a guy that possesses so much quality like he does. And then, Brendan Aronson's going to be Brendan Aronson. Dude, I'm a Leeds United fan. I've watched him play for Leeds. He did everything that I've seen him do in a Leeds shirt all over again, just for the U.S. Like, it was what it was. And then Ricardo Pepi was not fit for that game. Ricardo Pepi is a good striker. Ricardo Pepi is a good running behind number 9 who plays off a target man. That game needed Haji Wright badly. The physical level, the body, the imposing presence that he can provide as a target man that then runs in behind off of that second ball. That game needed Haji Wright, and I didn't feel like there was anybody who could impose a physical level against Turkey's center backs. And on the other side, Yilmaz for Turkey was very physical, getting into the body of McKenzie and Robinson and making sure that he won the first ball and made sure that he left it for the second ball so that Güler or Mkoshu or Kenan Yildiz could run in behind and pick it up and then play him in behind. He did a great job just imposing the physical level, and I thought Turkey had a great physical edge in this game. They were more physical. They were more dynamic in midfield. They were intercepting passes, just more ruthless in attack and more ruthless when it came to closing down U.S. players and not giving them time and space. And the U.S. looked panicked. And let's face it, those guys might not see a lot of action, but some of those guys are going to be subs. You can't have panic. That is the one thing a bunch of those guys at the deer in the headlights look, and that's something that the U.S. is going to fix. A good reminder to the U.S. going into their round of 32 matchup against Bosnia. You need to come with your A game. Your guys need to play like guys. Christian Pulisic instantly changed the facet and the fabric of the game when he came on, but you need better. You need better, and they got punched in the mouth, and now they get to realize, hey, we as good as we think we are, as good as those first two performances was, a lot of lessons still be left to learn from our depth guys.
Yeah, and the lessons is you don't want to have to rely upon those depth guys. Mm-mm. Simple as that. Yep. Balogun, Tyler Adams, Serginho Dest, those are the guys that make a difference in this squad. Whenever they're not out there, you're a middle of the table team in the World Cup. Whenever they're out there, you can make a run in the knockout stage. So.
Yeah, I also thought they missed the attacking output of a guy like Anthony Robinson, but you were never going to rescue him in a game like that. And then Alex Freeman comes on later, and maybe you have a little bit more backline cover, but it's pretty glaring why they're playing a 38-year-old Tim Ream in that back line. Like the one position of upgrade for the next cycle for the U.S. in the World Cup.
They need a center back.
They need like 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
They need some real depth pieces so that Miles Robinson doesn't have to be called in the line of action.
Obviously, as you guys just mentioned, there are some positives, some takeaways, what it looks like ahead. And I think that was for America, obviously being in LA last night, wanting to do a little something in front of the crowd. But again, successful, nobody hurt, everybody moves on. America moves on. Turkey can go home now. And we look ahead to that match, next Wednesday, I believe, right,
Mm-hmm.
against Bosnia.
And Bosnia's not a bad squad, man. I want to put that out there. They've got real players of quality. Edin Dzeko's a little past it now in terms of like top-level European strikers, but he's a perfectly capable World Cup scorer that could really do some damage to you. I mean, he's a classic throwback number 9 who can do a lot of different things. Yeah, Bosnia is a well-drilled, sound unit who's not going to make a ton of mistakes. They pride themselves on being able to control the midfield and the engine room. That's where your battle is going to be. If you're the U.S., and it's easy to say with a lot of matches, but this one especially, if the U.S. wants to win the game, they have to dominate the midfield, and that's what they've done in the past 2 games. When you look at the Australia game and the Paraguay game, Turkey got to grips in that midfield early on in that last game yesterday, and they didn't relinquish it. And it's tough to wrestle back control of the midfield when you don't have a defensive playmaker and a defensive menace like Tyler Adams patrolling that back line. The U.S. is going to need to control that midfield. They do against Bosnia, they will create a load of chances, and they will be just fine. I'm curious to see what Bosnia's strategy will be. Will they decide to pop out in the mid to low block? Will they try to be open with the U.S.? The strategy would say that if you're playing against the U.S., you probably want to sit a little bit lower, and that's what Turkey did yesterday with a 5-4-1 that shifted more to a 4-2-3-1 in attack. And that's what Australia did for a little bit until they got busted open. So if you want to play against the U.S., you probably want to sit back in a low block, absorb some pressure, unless you're a more technically gifted, better team. But Bosnia could pose the U.S. a lot of challenges. This is not a pushover game. You got to win the game in front of you, and the U.S. certainly has the talent and all the capabilities and the technical know-how to do so. It's just about going out and executing at a really high level, because the U.S. created a lot of chances last night. Let that be known. But there was that real lack of cutting edge in the final third.
It's advantage USA to advance to the round of 16. Simple as that. I'm sure we'll have more to talk about with Bosnia as next week rolls a little closer, but the U.S. got a fantastic draw. It should be expected that this team should go out, win this thing, send it to the round of 16. You have to go do it on the field, and we'll see. Bosnia, I mean, USA struggled at times with the low block that Turkey employed last night. If that's what Bosnia pulls out, you have to find some answers on the training ground this week. But this is an ideal matchup for the United States to advance and make a run through a knockout round.
But if you want some positives, the U.S. scored 8 goals in 3 group matches. That's a new USA World Cup scoring record. They've scored within the first 11 minutes in each of their group stage games. You rested your guys in Adams and Balogun and Richards, and Anthony Robinson. Christian Pulisic showed up, and he was very impactful. Bosnia's 3-1 win over Qatar gave them a first win in 7 games in international football. They were on a 7-game winless run. And this is only Bosnia's 2nd World Cup. So, while and Dzeko's been there and he's made his 150 international start, I mean, they're young. They're not super experienced. The U.S. probably has more World Cup and World Cup knockout experience. This would be advantage U.S., but you never know. Once you get to the knockout rounds, things can get funky. The U.S. has to be on their A game.
Yep. Everything changes when you get to this stage. Obviously, execution, preciseness, and how you navigate the pitch coming up Wednesday. And we'll have more, like you said, we'll have more on that match as we get closer. And let's take our first break. When we come back, let's jump back in the NBA a little bit, trades, draft, all that good stuff, and a whole lot more when we return.
All right.
Good stuff, fellas. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Got her open. Let's see what we got. NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I can muscle one more segment probably, and I'm gonna go get my pitcher warmed up.
Yeah, you're all good. Oh, the Mets fired Carlos Mendoza, so I probably need to touch on that at some point.
Everybody in New York still being hated in happiness. We relish on their sadness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate them being sad. I don't have a lot in front of me, obviously being in the car with the NBA and stuff. And I remember what we talked about yesterday a little bit. So,
by the way, if you don't want it to.
yeah, just keep giving me the point again because I didn't hear the music come through that.
You're all good. You are all good.
We got on with us today. Floodix10. Good morning, Floodix10. Good morning, Shane. Yeah, Cornette, it is Elijah's fault.
I still don't care that they lost.
It's your fault.
I mean, I kind of do. I like the idea of an unbeaten group stage.
Yeah, I do. But is
I
this
don't
did I also read this is the third time in history of the World Cup history the United States has won their group, but have never advanced past the 32, I believe.
Yeah, they've never gotten past the traditional 32 or the round of 16.
Yeah, so they since they expanded the field, it used to be the first knockout stage game was the 16.
16
now it's 32.
Because the U.S. has never gotten past that. But yeah, but their past like pretty decent. If it's still Egypt, South Korea, that's still pretty decent draw. Like it's not obviously no game once you get to the knockout stages is easy,
hey,
like,
well, look at the other side. Do you want to be on the other side?
not particularly. I don't want to be Brazil, Japan, England, Ecuador. Yeah,
the U.S. got an advantageous draw with Bosnia.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they're okay.
That's what you get for winning your group, though. You got to win your group. That's the biggest part of it all.
That's what the Lincoln Cyclones hope to do today is win their group and not have to play at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
That sounds like a great idea, low key.
I tell you what, this hustle is real, man. Getting up like on a Friday, being up and like 7:30 this morning. Come on, man.
All right, let's get rocking and rolling here, fellas.
Let's go. Welcome back to the morning hookup. Again, happy Friday. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Friday. On a beautiful Friday. Boy, we getting some beautiful weather right now. I know it's cloudy out, but like high 70s today and things like that. It's going to be a beautiful day. Hope your weekend gets off to a great start on a Friday. Elijah, a lot of people saying, man, it's your fault about the U.S. last night. Coordinator has a great point, man. You just threw it at him.
I said I didn't care if they lost. I still don't care that they lost. It does not matter, but he says it's my fault. Listen, Mauricio Pochettino didn't care if they lost either. That's why he threw out the B team. Simple as that. The way in which they lost is disappointing, getting it all the way to the 97th minute and blowing it late, but good for Turkey. And as Justice said last segment, this gives you some momentum or some motivation. Sorry, better word. Motivation going into a knockout stage games, knowing, hey, we didn't just show our best. We're going to go out there. And for the guys that are the B team, maybe gives them a little more motivation to show what kind of players they are during training sessions. And then for the A team guys, it's like, all right, people saw that we lost, but we weren't out there. We're going to go up and show the world what we have once the knockout stage starts. So I got no issues with how last night went.
Hey, real quick, can I ask the dummy soccer fan question that doesn't know a lot about anything about this? I get like they have this injury, extra time. Now we have hydration breaks for everybody.
Yeah.
Why can't we just stop? Why can't we just stop the clock? Just boop, and then we know.
They've talked about that. It's kind of like a long running thing in football where it's like you don't touch the clock. Like that's kind of the thing is like, hey, let's just keep it rolling and we'll add on the time later. But I know the Premier League is like actually toyed with the idea of stopping the clock during like injury breaks or stopping the clock during like any sort of imposed hydration break. But yeah, I mean I kind of don't understand it from
tradition,
that point, but it's tradition.
Tradition. Hey, why did it take baseball so long to add a pitch clock?
Why did it take baseball so long to add lights?
Yeah, it's tradition. Things of those sorts.
It's just a question I asked. I'm like, man, this could be really easy. This could be 90 minutes. Just go.
It also helps you have a consistent like TV window for soccer.
Mm-hmm.
You know the game's going to last just under 2 hours.
Yeah,
very simple. 90 minutes of action, 15 minutes of halftime, some added time for the extra time at the end of each half, and you come out to just under 2 hours. So it gives a consistent window for television.
Well, and also a lot of clocks, like they'll have the digital clocks, obviously, but a lot of clocks will run off of either a referee stopwatch or be some like lower level, like English football clubs or like other clubs around the world have like manual clocks that you have to wind to 90 minutes. So they actually wind the manual clocks, and that's like the timing device for the stadium clock. Like that's still a thing in like some clubs around the world. So it's also going to be a technological adjustment as some of these clubs get.
It's just a question I had.
It's a perfectly valid question.
I mean, we could just do like every other sport, 90 minutes is it? And you go boop, boop. Just a question, novice soccer fan. I think it's kind of silly, but hey, NBA, man, the NBA is kind of had its couple of days with 1 round, 2 round. You've got massive trade going on with Ball headed to Minnesota and Naz Reid headed to Charlotte. Kobe White now sounds like he'll re-sign with Charlotte after that goes down. And then you got a massive extension for Trae Young out in Washington. Boy, he took the bag, stole it, and ran with it. Also, massive extension for Austin Reeves in LA. What does that mean for the Lakers? Give me thoughts. I know there's other stuff that's been happening. I don't have it touched in right now with obviously being on the road right now, but winners and losers in this draft and what to look ahead for.
I'll kind of take this to go. I looked a little bit more into the Hornets deal after we talked yesterday. So I saw the thing, and actually a lot of people were saying the same thing that I thought this was a chance for the Hornets to sell high off a great second half from LaMelo Ball. And like, I saw somebody else talk about this, and I thought it was a great point. From a Charlotte perspective, do you really want to, as a rebuilding team, do you want to invest that much money, almost $150 million still, into a guy who has a injury prone history, is a guy who you kind of question the love of basketball sometimes, and a guy who does flash, but there are real defensive concerns with him. I kind of got it from Charlotte's perspective, like, hey, why not just hand the keys over to Kobe White and Concanipple and Brandon Miller and Hannes Steinbach, and let's get rocking and rolling with that. And then, hey, we got some nice complimentary pieces. They drafted Christian Anderson as well, which is pretty awesome. They got some other bigs in there. I know Sion James was pretty awesome for them. Ryan Kalkbrenner was doing great things. Moussa Diabate was a breakout player in the NBA last year. So I kind of get it a little bit more from the Hornets perspective. People are kind of raking them over the coals, but I'm like, man, you get Naz Reid to add to that too. Plus you're getting like more future value. Heck yeah, more power to you. Like if you trust your front office like that, plus like it might be a Charles Lee thing, their head coach. Like he might have just said, hey, I like LaMelo. He's a nice young player, but that might not be our centerpiece, man. I might like Concanipple or Brandon Miller more.
And I don't think he's wrong. And from a T-Wolves perspective, what the Hornets are doing in my eyes is they're making a bet on themselves and their development, and they're betting that the T-Wolves come 5 years from now will be on the downswing of where they are right now with some of their guys, just Randall getting older. I think there's probably the question whenever you send him, LaMelo, I should say, off to Minnesota is how does that offense operate knowing there's only going to be one ball on the court? LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards are both guys that like to have the ball in their hand, especially from an Ant point of view, once the playoffs roll around. How is that going to work with 2 ball-dominant guards in your backcourt? That remains to be seen. I'm with Justice. I kind of question the love of basketball for LaMelo. Does he love basketball or does he love being famous? That remains to be seen. I mean, it's a guy that's missed, almost half of his games during his time with the Hornets for nothing major. It's all little tiny nicks and bruises and strained muscles. Like, you question the love of the game right there. So I think the talent is there for LaMelo Ball, but there's a lot of things that I question with. I mean, why would Minnesota think adding him into the mix is the piece it's going to take him from a contender to a championship caliber team?
I will give Minnesota this, though. So they move off Julius Randle, that massive multi-team trade, right? They send him over to Brooklyn. Getting rid of the Naz Reid money directly opens up a chance for them to re-sign Ayo Dosunmu, which has kind of been a priority of them since they traded for him at the deadline. So now with the Wolves moving some pieces around, now they've got cap flexibility to go sign a guy like Ayo Dosunmu, which was clearly the plan once they traded for him at the deadline. I think this is more of a commitment to bring more backcourt stability and more backcourt offensive orientation to the Timberwolves and take the onus off of a guy like Anthony Edwards to be the whole creative outlet and give him some supplementary pieces in Ayo Dosunmu and LaMelo Ball who can take some of that scoring and creativity load off of his plate so he can be more of a true dynamic off-ball threat. That makes sense for me from the Timberwolves perspective. Looking at it, I don't know how much this moves the needle to make them a contender in the Western Conference, and you give up a decent bit of future value, but it is a nice play, and it is a risk to see, hey, if we can elevate this thing, because if LaMelo is everything that like he could be, the Timberwolves could be really, really good. But we've seen probably the 50th percent of LaMelo, and like he's a fine player, he's a good young player, but I don't know that he moves the needle right now that much for the Timberwolves. So that's kind of my thought on that move.
I would say right now, those are all great points you guys are making. The moves they made or the moves Mike made still made them the 4th or 5th best team in the West, in my opinion. There's still too many big ones at the top when you got you got OKC, the Spurs, throw in the Nuggets in that. I still don't think it moved them enough to say, like you said, contenders. What does it do to them going forward as well? Another team that made a move, obviously you looked at, we talked about it, Austin Reeves getting a massive 4-year deal with the Lakers. What does that mean for the Lakers' future? What is LeBron? What does that mean? I don't know what their space looks like. Good deal for Austin Reeves. Not sure about for the Lakers as a whole.
Yeah, this is a big number, but it's not like a massive number for Austin Reeves when I look at this. It's the largest contract for an undrafted free agent in NBA history. So Congrats to you, young man. You were an undrafted free agent. Now you got paid. That is awesome for him. I look at this, and it's a clear commitment to giving Luka Doncic a backcourt mate. This really does restrict what the Lakers can do moving forward now, because while Austin Reeves has been awesome for them, he does have his limitations. Like, there is a clear cap on what Austin Reeves can be, and like he's a really good player. He's just not like a superstar in this league, and that's okay to say, but he's a nice foil to what Luka Doncic can do. I don't know how those guys are going to play on sharing the basketball. To me, this opens up the fact that like the Lakers probably should sign LeBron. Like they're gonna need to re-sign LeBron is what I look at this as, and try to run it back one more year, because I think LeBron still gives them the element of something they don't have, a physical bruiser, a guy who can offer you some Swiss Army knife capabilities as like this off-ball second or third option, but like also still has some on-ball playmaking chops, like even at his age. Like I look at all those things, and that's probably the next likely path for Los Angeles, but they're going to you're going to have to get creative with some of the cap space and everything that they want to do, because they still need a true center. That's going to be the thing the Lakers still need, is like a true big.
I mean, they did just lock down, to me, one of the better glue guys in the NBA. Austin Reeves will do the dirty work for you, willing defender, knocks down. I mean, he's a well-rounded player in that backcourt. I'm with Justice. The flexibility they have with their roster now is little, but the player that you have in Austin Reeves, you know what you've got. He's a guy who's going to be well-rounded, not many deficiencies to his game. Is he a superstar? No, but is he always reliable? Yes. You feel happy for him, but you just question kind of what the Lakers' vision is moving forward. Their cap situation is really, really tough to navigate with LeBron on a max, Luka Doncic on a max, and now you're paying Austin Reeves a ton of money.
So we talked about the West. Obviously, there's more in the West. We kind of talked about it a little bit, but the big trade in the East and how the balance of the East did it change. You've got Giannis, the superstar, headed to the Miami Heat. The Bucks, what that is, it feels like you're like, oh, the star went to Miami, but it doesn't feel really like the Miami got the star when you look at it as a whole. In that trade, it feels like the Bucks won in the trade. Heat, not sure it really moved the needle in the East.
I look at this, and I didn't think Milwaukee got a centerpiece back, but they got a lot of pieces that are really, really solid. They got a lot of really solid young pieces. They don't have the needle mover that like a Jaylen Brown would have been, and now that's another domino that's going to have to fall. But when I evaluate the move on the surface, I don't know that it moved the needle. It probably raised the floor for Milwaukee, which is good because they don't want to be one of those bottom teams in the NBA and not have a real great chance of getting the first overall pick. If for Miami, does it move the needle that much? I mean, like, you get a top 5 player in the league. It's not every day that you get your hands on the top 5 player in the league. And you did give up a lot for him. They have to make sure that they re-sign Norman Powell now, if you're Miami. They drafted Ryan. They traded for Ryan Conwell in the draft, who's one of the better shooters that you're going to be able to grab. They still got some nice young players. You got to re-sign Andrew Wiggins. There's going to be moves that have to be made by the Miami Heat, but if you can get all those guys in the boat, they might be able to make this work as like a true playoff team. I don't know that they're like a title team, but they're a true playoff team in my eyes. And for Milwaukee, they got a lot of young pieces and young assets back, and that's good. And then they got a really nice player in the draft in Braden Burries, and we'll see what Nate Ament turns out to be. Like, if Nate Ament turns out to actually be the star that some people think that he is, could be really good for Milwaukee. But, I mean, I get why you take a swing on a guy like that. I just thought, like, for Milwaukee, they waited too long, and they cashed in with what they had. Like, they probably could have gotten a better package earlier. But, all in all, like, not a super awful return for this point in the year to get what you could out of Miami. And I get that they wanted to go with more assets instead of trying to take the sure star bet in Jaylen Brown.
But after all these moves, I still feel like as you look around the NBA, your favorites to win the West remain the Spurs and the Thunder.
Yep.
I don't think anything's changed there. Over in the East, to me, it's the Knicks and the Pistons when I look ahead to the future, because I think the Pistons are, with another year of development for Cade Cunningham, that team is pretty young. We'll see if they have any moves up their sleeves, because I think it's everyone kind of chasing the Knicks right now. Which I don't want to sound too obvious because they're the NBA champion, but they ran through the East with ease this year. And I don't see any moves in the East that really knocked them off their throne. The one thing I could talk about, or I could convince myself of, is the fact that the Pistons, now they have some playoff experience and they get another year older with guys like Cade Cunningham, that maybe they could make a run in it. But I don't think any of these moves have changed the complexion of who the top dogs in each conference are.
I absolutely agree with that, Elijah, as well. Now, thoughts on the draft itself. Looking ahead outside those four teams, two in the East, two in the West, have you guys, when you look at the draft, maybe free agency stuff that's occurred, a team on the outside maybe say, hey, they made some really good moves and they have a future ahead, maybe in a couple years, based on what they did in the draft. Also, I think the draft itself finally won. When you look at viewership in the first round, up 10% viewership in that first round. Haven't seen numbers like that in a long time. And I think that goes directly to what that draft class looked like in the first round. Those first 15 or so picks, dynamic. There's so much opportunity in the stars that come out of those colleges after a year. That is a dynamic draft class, and we won't know what that means for a few years. But on paper, that draft class looks to be one of the best we've ever seen.
I'll give you a team that like might not be an outright winner, but I thought was a subtle winner. I thought Philly made out really good in this draft, getting LeBaron Philon. So now you get Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and LeBaron Philon. You have fun problems in the guard room, and that's after trading Jared McCain at the deadline. Some people thought maybe too early to give him up, but you get LeBaron Philon, who's a guy that I've always been really high on. I know there's some character concerns behind the scenes with a guy like that. He's very about him, but he's a really good player, and that's a loaded backcourt now for Philly. And if Joel Embiid can stay healthy, which seems to be a monumental task these days, Philly could be really, really good. Like that's like that with what they added in the guard room, and now you keep Joel Embiid healthy, you could be really, really solid, man. So I liked Philly as a subtle winner of that draft, not an outright winner, but a subtle one.
And a team that I think could step right into playoff prominence is the team that picked number 1 overall, the Washington Wizards.
Oh, yes.
And they picked a guy that fit in better with their roster. I think if you're going best available, you might have gone Darren Peterson off the board at number 1. And hey, the Jazz have a super bright future ahead of them. But you look at the Wizards, you got Trae Young at the point. I like Kaishan George. You got DeBonsa probably playing the 3, maybe playing the 4. We'll see how they factor that in. And then how much do you have left in Anthony Davis? Probably not all that much, but still a great basketball player at this point in time. I think that takes you from being one of the worst teams in the league to being a team that can go and compete for a playoff spot. I don't think they're competing for a championship, but I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to be moving forward.
Yeah, both great ones. I think this draft, obviously looking at, I think the teams really did a nice job of making that fit because like you said, it's real easy in this types of situations to go, well, give me first, best available. You've seen that a lot. But I would say Washington did a great job with that. As much as I don't like the Pukies, I thought that when they picked Boozer at 3, what a great fit with that pick as well. I don't think many of these teams went wrong on the stretching to try to get a prospect to make it fit the old, make it fit until it doesn't and ruin a kid. But overall draft, I thought was success for a lot of these teams. And again, futures will be bright for a lot of these kids. And the NBA is not done. There'll be a lot more coming up from that as well.
The losers are unfortunately probably my Denver Nuggets.
They were just quiet.
They're quiet, and they didn't need a quiet offseason. They needed to do some restructuring this year, but they've kind of put themselves in hell with some previous moves that they've made. They don't have that much to work with. Justice, we'll get to you in just a second, but I have doubts. The Nuggets were an incomplete roster this year. They got exposed in the playoffs by the T-Wolves, and I don't know what their next moves are going to be to try to get back. You have one of the best players in the league in Nikola Jokic. You need to put the right players around him, and they just don't have the right players around him right now.
I think you drafted one of those players. I like Trayvon Brazil. I really do. I think he's like, if he's not Aaron Gordon, but he's like 75% of what Aaron Gordon is, which is a really good player. Like that's a pretty good player, and I think that's an impact rotation piece right away. The only reason he didn't go higher is because he's old. That's kind of what it is, but I like that. I kind of get the Bryce Hopkins pick, but Trayvon Brazil, I think, is a really nice player. Like, it may not move the needle, but it fills out a nice rotation spot, and they're going to have to figure out what they want to do with Christian Brown. But I like Trayvon Brazil. That was a good pick. I was a fan of that.
Well, you have a guy, I'm not sure he's a 3-and-D, but he catches lobs, pretty good athlete. I'm with you. And he can stretch the floor. He can shoot the
He's
three
also
ball.
got some passing chops. I don't know if you watched the tape on that, but he's got some really nice passing chops.
But I'm more looking at the 2 and the 3, and you have a whole bunch of pieces that are playing 2 and 3 for you that don't really fit in. And yeah, you have a contract that's just about to start with Christian Brown, and he is not. I mean, he ain't Austin Reeves. He's got the Austin Reeves money. No. He ain't Austin Reeves in terms of how he fits with the team, and that's kind of the vision with what the Nuggets thought they were going to get with him. We'll see. Do the Nuggets find a trade partner for Jamal Murray? That's a question that I think is out there. Is probably your most valuable piece. Do you try to move on from him? I don't know. Still a lot of questions to me, though, for the Nuggets this offseason with how they restructure.
Another quick winner just before we get out. I really liked Atlanta's draft. I can't lie. I thought the Hawks did a really nice job. You get Flemings in there, so now you got a backcourt of Nickeil Alexander-Walker, C.J. McCollum, Dyson Daniels, and Kingston Flemings. That's a fun mix. I like that. And then you get Zuby Ejiofor and Henry Vesar to kind of fill out your front court, and maybe Ejiofor was a bit of a reach in the first round, but man, I thought they had a really nice draft. They get some complementary pieces. That guard room's pretty loaded. Like, yeah, I can buy stock in Atlanta being really good next year. Like, that sounds pretty good. I think Quinn Snyder's a good coach, and I thought they had a really nice draft.
Well done. Well said. The grades are out. Now the real work begins in the NBA. So, all right, let's take another break. When we come back, we'll jump into This Day in Sports.
This day in Yankee hate.
Hey, you boys good? I got to go to the bullpen. You good?
Yep. We can take it from here, Hooks.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys. Have a great weekend, my man.
Good luck.
Yep, you too. Good luck, Hooks.
Thanks.
Don't get in that loser's bracket.
No. See you, boys.
Just the two of us.
We can make it if we try.
Just the two of us. Just the two of us. That's good. This day in sports, you mean this day in Yankee hates back, baby? Woo! Yeah, let's rip up something diabolical here.
Yeah, I'm trying to find quickly before we get into the sports.
You know, I was thinking for
Terry Arnold briefly, an update.
We kind of hit that a little bit yesterday.
He did have his first court appearance.
Yeah, if you want to hit that, we can hit that. Just a bizarro situation.
Yeah.
And then I can come in there. We can talk second hour. It won't be that bad. Yes, day. Oh. There we go. That's a good one. I like that. You know, I was looking back over some CFB transfer portal windows, right? I didn't realize the metric ton of money that LSU spent. Like, did you see the guys they brought in?
Well, it started with the metric ton of money that they spent getting Brian Kelly out
and Lane Kiffin
getting Lane Kiffin in. Why stop there?
Yeah, I don't know what kind of investment you got to get. That's like $200 million they put in this offseason, all things considered. Got to be, right?
I mean, it was what? Was it 60 for Kelly alone?
Yeah, and then they're paying Lane somewhere in that.
$54 million buyout paid over 6 years for Brian Kelly.
And then Lane Kiffin. Remember, they didn't want to pay the buyout for Brian Kelly. Remember that whole fiasco?
Yes. And they eventually just settled for the full. Well, let's see how much.
Because they had terrible grounds.
We don't know how much Lane or pretty much LSU had to pay out to get him out of his contract with with Ole Miss.
Right.
But he had $35 million left on that contract.
Yeah. So they probably had to pay that.
Or maybe negotiated down just slightly. But then a 7-year, $91 million deal with LSU.
So that puts you at $150 million already. And then you probably spent another $50 on your roster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's $200 million offseason right there.
Now, a lot of that's going to be deferred down the road.
Yeah, but the gross cap, $200 million offseason. Unbelievable.
$50 million on the roster is crazy, but
I don't think that number's that far off.
I mean, yeah, you're paying Sam Levitt, Jordan Seaton, and Prince Will.
A lot of money.
That's probably $15 million right there.
Here we go.
Welcome back into the morning hookup. Bill Hooks off to coach some baseball, so it's Elijah Herbal and Justice Rhodey hanging out with you here. Got plenty more to get to in the show. We'll have Jeff Moats joining us in hour 2, talking some Legion baseball. But quickly here, before we get to this day in sports history, or for Justice, this day in Yankees. Hey, I do quickly want the update on Terrion Arnold, because this is a wild situation.
He's like the ringleader in all this.
That's what they're alleging.
Allegedly, I want to put the allegedly so I don't get sued. Allegedly the ringleader in all this. Like I've always joked about wanting to become a criminal mastermind. He went and lived my goal. Not like my goal, like my dream as a kid to be a criminal mastermind.
Well, and you dive into the story here. They were robbed essentially from their Airbnb. They identified who they thought were the suspects. They turn it over to police. The police are unconvinced that these guys did it. They're carrying on their investigation. They essentially gave the police like one day, and then they're disappointed. They went, well, we're going to take justice into our own hands. We're going vigilante justice here.
Mm-hmm.
The question to me is the prosecutors allege that they have digital evidence that Arnold was the ringleader, both that the crime itself was live streamed to him, despite the fact that he was not there, and then that he was texting out commands to these kidnappers that are going and taking these teens into custody and just battering them. Do they have that digital evidence that he was sending them texts? And I guess it was in a group chat on, can't remember what messaging site it was, but do they have that digital evidence that he did that he was the ringleader? If they do, he's going away for a long time.
Yeah, the maximum that he's facing is life in the slammer, and that is not good for one Terrion Arnold, and probably not good for the Lions because they don't want to get any weaker in the secondary.
Simply put, you ain't going to see him on a football field in 2026. I don't think you're going to see him on a football field for a long time, if ever.
Yeah.
Now, does he see life in prison? I don't know. I'm not a prosecutor. I'm not a judge. I can't tell you that. I would be surprised.
He is innocent until proven guilty. We do have due process in this country for a reason. We have to see if all of this is true, or if this is a wild, fantastical story that was made up. I'm going to believe that he was innocent until proven guilty. And then if he's proven guilty, then we can have a totally different conversation about what, future appearances from Terrion Arnold in the public eye look like.
That being said, it does sound like the prosecutors have that digital evidence. Do they? We shall see.
Mm-hmm.
they allege that they do. So we'll see where it goes, but kind of a sad story. He's wearing the anti-suicide vest whenever he's doing his first hearing yesterday. He's being held for now. They're going to have another court session on Monday to determine whether he's going to be able to get bail or not. That'll be interesting to see, but regardless, whether it's bail, whether it's not, you ain't going to see him on a football field anytime soon. So that is the update with Terrion Arnold. I know you guys kind of beat that up a little bit yesterday, talking about that wild situation, but going to be interesting to follow that here in the coming months and see, I guess, is Terrion Arnold's future in football, or is it behind bars? That's what we're going to find out here in the coming months. But you're not going to see him on the field. What do the Lions do at defensive back? I don't know, but they're going to have to make some moves for the season. I think that much feels obvious to me because their secondary is already weak. And now your defensive back, who, let's be honest, he's had a bit of a rough start to his NFL career, both with injuries, adjusting to the speed of the NFL. He hasn't been, another first-round defensive back. He hasn't been Quinyon Mitchell, who's been fantastic. You were kind of hoping on, if you're a Lions fan, for the development of Terrion Arnold, but I think you can kind of kiss that goodbye now. You have to plan for life without him, and moves need to be made. They're weak back in that secondary.
They are. So on a more positive note, back to this day in Yankee hate, let me make sure I get this right. 1987, losing 9-0 to the Boston Red Sox. We should probably just end it there. But the New York Yankees score 11 in the third, win 12-11 in 10 innings. You mean to tell me at some point in life, but especially in 1987, I get it. The Red Sox made the World Series in 1986. Totally understand that. You were losing 9-0 to the Red Sox at one point. Like, we should have just called the game there. Like, that's pretty pathetic, man. Can't lie. Especially if it was like this current days Boston Red Sox. We need to call it a day. We might need to call it a season at that point. That stinks. So that's this day in Yankee hate. You were losing 9-0 to the Red Sox at one point. I don't care that you won the game.
But this day in 1959, we're going boxing. Ingmar Johansson of Sweden knocks down Floyd Patterson 7 times in round 3 alone to win the world heavyweight boxing title. I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a boxing referee. Why does it take 7 knockdowns for you to stop the fight?
Because maybe he pops up really quickly. Maybe he just like gets down, like pops right back up.
I feel like if I saw 4 knockdowns in a round, I'd be like, you know what? I don't think this guy's doing too hot. We're going to try to take care of his safety. I guess maybe 1959 is a different time. I'm just thinking 7 times for you to finally be like, okay, this thing's over. 7?
I'm pretty sure this was indirectly ripped off for an episode of the A-Team. I'm not joking. There's a part where Hannibal Smith dresses up in a disguise as like this down on his luck former Irish boxing champion, and his cover story is that he knocked down Floyd Patterson, and I'm pretty sure that he ripped off this specific story as part of that line. So there you go.
Well, Floyd Patterson, he did go into acting after his boxing career, correct?
Yeah, I think so. But Floyd Patterson was a heck of a boxer anyway. In this day in baseball history, 1970, Frank Robinson hits 2 grand slams as the Orioles beat the Senators 12-2. Criminally underrated career, Frank Robinson, by the way. Criminally underrated. That dude was a baller. 1971, Alex Johnson suspended by the Angels after 5 benchings and 29 fines. They finally just suspended him. They said, all right, we benched you. We fined you. It's not working. Time for you to go on paid leave for a little bit.
In 1994, Kirby Puckett passes Rod Carew with his 2088th hit to take the lead among the Twins as the all-time hit leader.
My mom always told me about the ticker tape parade the Twins held after they won the World Series. She said that they shut down Minneapolis when she got out of school, so she was a Twins fan from then on, which is actually a really funny story. 1976, Japanese professional wrestler Antonio Inoki fights American boxer Muhammad Ali at the Nippon Budokan in Tokyo, Japan, commonly coined the War of the Worlds. Pretty good. Not the first or last foray that Muhammad Ali would have into professional wrestling.
In 2003, LeBron James out of St. Vincent St. Mary High School is picked first overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers. The rest is history, but that was 23 years ago. Now going into year 24.
His career stopped in 2015, right? Surely this tomfoolery can't go on any longer.
I think we all expect. Does the Austin Reeves contract change anything for you? Thinking he's going to come back for another year?
I think he's probably going to come back for one more. I don't think he likes how that season ended. I'm going to be honest. No. I think he wants to be in a competitive environment and at least give it one more run in Hollywood.
I was wondering with the reunion, the Cavs reunion that we had, was that last week with all those players from the championship roster coming together? I was wondering, okay, does that mean LeBron is now kind of easing into retirement? And no, I don't think so.
No, he still looks as good as ever. I think he's got one more in the tank. I think just like the Vince Carter meme, he's got one more in him.
I just don't think the man has anything to do besides play basketball. That's a man that found his passion, and I think he loves what he does every single day, playing professional basketball.
I mean, he loves his kids, but, you know, and he's openly talked about wanting to be a dad soon and being a full-time like father, but I don't think that he's at that point yet. I'm going to be completely honest.
On this day in 2014, World Cup, Luis Suarez is given a red card and expelled from the World Cup as a whole after he bites an opponent.
They still talk about that to this day. It's a great meme. A lot of great memes coming out of that. There's like Photoshop pictures of him with like beaver teeth. It's funny.
Yeah, but he bit his opponent kind of on the shoulder and got ejected from the entirety of the World Cup.
Really quickly, 1938 Cincinnati Red Lonnie Frey hits 8 doubles in a doubleheader. Well, I put the name literally, huh? Wow. 8 doubles.
Well, that'll do it for us here in hour 1 of the morning hookup. We'll step aside, and when we return, we'll bring you some hour 2 action, including the Almanac. Jeff Moats joining us talking some Legion baseball. That's all coming your way in hour 2 of the morning hookup here on a Friday.
Benefits. A team devoted to serving Nebraska's veterans and their families. That's what you'll find at the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs. With openings in nursing, food service, administration, and more, our veterans homes in Bellevue, Kearney, Norfolk, and Scotts Bluff have a role for you. Find your new career at veterans.nebraska.gov/employment. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Nobody builds a business without hearing a few reasons it won't work. Too risky, too crowded, too ambitious. But the people who move things forward usually hear those words first. Because growing a business takes more than optimism. It takes nerve, and eventually, a partner built for what's next. That's Next Rodeo. Big thinking, proven creative. For businesses still moving forward. Next Rodeo. The difference between the business you have and the business you want. Meet us at thenextrodeo.com.
Pete Ricketts is used to getting things paid for. Born into a billionaire family, Ricketts spent millions of his dad's money bankrolling his campaigns. That's why Ricketts doesn't mind voting to increase our costs. Tariff taxes, gas prices through the roof, cuts to Medicaid, and closing rural hospitals. In Pete Ricketts' world, when things cost more, Dad just picks up the tab. Tell Senator Ricketts, Nebraskans pay our own way. Bring down our costs now.
Paid for by Nebraska Groundswell.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton has pleaded guilty to retaining classified documents. He was in a federal court today, says ABC national correspondent Stephen Portnoy.
Asked by the judge whether he was in fact guilty of illegally retaining national security information, the former National Security Advisor said, "I am, Your Honor. I'm sorry for it." John Bolton had faced 18 counts, but he reached a deal with prosecutors to plead guilty to just one, related to emails he sent his wife and daughter containing top-secret information. As part of the agreement, prosecutors have pledged not to seek more than a 5-year prison sentence. Maryland-based federal judge Theodore Chewang will decide in late October.
President Trump insists the Strait of Hormuz is back open. An Iranian drone, however, struck a vessel in the waterway overnight. ABC News contributor and former senior Pentagon official Mick Mulroy saying,
"The strait is not open. If Iran controls it, it's closed. And eventually, they will start charging some kind of fee, whether they'll call it a toll or an environmental fee. It is the same, and that should be unacceptable."
The earthquake in Venezuela leaving nearly 600 people dead and many more believed trapped.
A race against time in Venezuela as the death toll rises from those devastating back-to-back earthquakes. Hundreds still believed to be trapped. Emergency crews digging through mountains of concrete and twisted metal.
ABC's Victor Okendo. A record number of travelers are expected this 4th of July holiday. Here's ABC transportation correspondent Gio Benitez.
The airports have been busy. The road's already busy as well. 4th of July travel, it is well underway, and it's expected to break records both in the air and on the ground. Major airlines, they're anticipating more passengers than ever before. So American is gearing up for 8 million flyers. More than that, between yesterday and July 6th, United saying 6 million will be flying the friendly skies.
Checking the markets, the Dow is up 32 points and the S&P is up 2. You're listening to ABC News.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Estella.
A new educational campaign on waste management. Good morning, I'm Jeff Moats. We're at 68 degrees at KFOR. On Thursday, city officials announced a new Love Your Landfill education campaign. It's a way to waste less and recycle more, which includes a mascot named Landfill. Lincoln Transportation Utilities Director Liz Elliott.
Our goal is simple: to make reducing waste and recycling easy to understand and easy to do.
The campaign is a way to help recycle correctly and saving waste by extending the life of landfill up on Highway 77 and Bluff Road and preventing it from filling up too quickly. You can read more about this up at KFORnow.com. Accusations of sending sexual content to underage girls on social media have led to the arrest of a 26-year-old Lincoln man. Devon Keys made his first court appearance this week. He is charged with 1 count of child enticement by electronic communication device, but a Lancaster County judge also set his bond at 10% of $700,000. Back in early January, a woman contacted the Lincoln Police Department and reported that her 13-year-old daughter had been having conversations with older men online. Court documents say that one man using an account on Snapchat allegedly sent the girl a sexually explicit video of himself. It ultimately led LPD to a Lincoln home where Keys lived. You can read more up at KFORnow.com. An ICE operation in the Columbus area Thursday resulted in 1 arrest. Columbus police said on their Facebook page that ICE was in the area to contact people that failed to comply with a previously issued deportation order. Then just before 3 o'clock Thursday, Columbus police said in an update on Facebook that ICE had completed the operation and took 1 person into custody. That Facebook post said the 1 person detained was a convicted sex offender that had been previously deported. Lincoln's first forecast today, mostly cloudy, a high around 80. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 64. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, a slight chance of a thunderstorm and a high of 84, and then turning sunny and hot on Sunday with a high of 96. I'm Jeff Moats, KFOR News.
Lincoln's best wings together for a great cause. The 9th annual Wing Fest, organized by United Way's emerging leaders, is saucing it up on Saturday, July 18th at Haymarket Park. Wings served 5 to 7 p.m. with live music until 8. Get your tickets today at wingfestlincoln.com. All proceeds help fund creative learning spaces for youth in Lincoln and Lancaster County. wingfestlincoln.com.
The Legacy Retirement Communities invite you to enjoy the independence, comfort, and peace of mind they offer in their own special way at all of their locations. Connect with others, enjoy fabulous food, educational programs, fitness centers, and more. The Legacy Communities are filled with movers and doers who embrace every stage of life, giving you the opportunity to live and grateful. For a tour, call 402-436-3000 or visit legacyretirement.com. Or call 402-4...
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
Welcome back in to hour 2 of the morning hookup. Elijah Herbal, Justice Rhodey, rocking and rolling with you on a Friday, getting you all set for the weekend. What a weekend it should be. I know this is not a weather channel, but have you seen the weather that we're rocking with?
No, I have not. I have not, used my redneck meteorology degree to peep the weather.
You're getting everything you want this weekend. Today, mid-70s. Should be a beautiful evening tonight. Looking at high 60s, low 70s by the time the evening hours roll around tonight. That is a beautiful, beautiful late June evening. You don't get many days like that. Tomorrow, you're looking at a kind of like low 80s type of day.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunday, the heat wave rolls around, and it's like one of those, hey, go hang out at the pool on your Sunday type of days. 94 degrees, a little bit windy and humid, but that's like the perfect kind of day to go lounge out by the pool. I'm not going to be on the golf course, but I know some people like the hot weather golfing as well. It's just you kind of get the full Nebraska summer experience this weekend across 3 days.
Mm.
Where, low 80s, the world is your oyster.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go for a bike ride? Want to go for a jog? Want to go for a walk? It's perfect. You want to sit in the backyard, drink a couple brews? You can do that. You can go sit by the pool. It's you got the full range.
I had a dream last night that it snowed here in mid-June. Yeah, apparently my body wants some snow right now.
I guess not the full range of weather then, but
yeah, I had a dream last night. I remember waking up this morning. I'm like, did I really dream that it snowed here in mid-June? I was like, because I remember I was dreaming, and I was like, in my dream I walked outside, and I was like, it's snowing. And I looked at my phone. It said June something, and I was like, it's June in Nebraska. Why is it snowing? And then randomly one of my buddies appeared out of nowhere, and he's like, nice weather we're having today. And I'm like, it's June.
I remember once, this would have been when I was in middle school. We had it was a early May snowstorm. It was only on the ground for a day. But it snowed. It had to have been May 10th. It was right before school gets out. And we got a random pop-up. It dumped an inch on us, which wasn't significant, but it was May.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all gone by the next morning. But I remember that being one of those what is going on? Weather days.
NASA controlling the weather again.
Yeah. Anyway, we have plenty to get into this hour. We'll have Jeff Moats, the Almanac, joining us here a little bit later in hour 2. But before we start things off, and we'll give credit to Justice on this, he was excited to talk about this whenever we got together and brainstormed during the break. Let's look at some college football teams that we're excited for, maybe a little bit under the radar. The teams that, not all of these teams will be playoff contenders, but the type of teams that just aren't getting enough love right now that we think had solid off seasons. We kind of talked LSU a little bit back in hour 1 during a commercial break with all the money that they've spent, both getting Brian Kelly out, getting Lane Kiffin in, and then the transfer portal guys that they went after. I don't think that's a team that's flying under the radar, though. That is a team that I think his hype level is about perfect. Yeah, you bring in a coach that brought some Louis with him in Lane Kiffin, brought some good players from Ole Miss, but also goes and gets a Jordan Seaton from Colorado, goes and gets a Sam Leavitt from Arizona State. They have star power. They have a coach at the top that has proven himself to be among the game's best in the transfer portal era. LSU steps in with Lane Kiffin. They should be a contender right away. Simple as that.
I agree with that. I actually full-heartedly agree with that. You bring in a guy like Sam Leavitt. You bring in Winston Watkins Jr. You brought in Eugene Wilson from Florida. You've got some real weapons there. You brought in Princeville Uman-Mielen to, kind of follow Lane Kiffin from Ole Miss to LSU. You bring in Jordan Seaton from Colorado. A lot of hype, a lot of big-name guys. You got your quarterback of the future in Hassan Longstreet, who you got to transfer over from USC to LSU. So, pretty nice roster that they put together. They should be contending right away. That is all the expectation in Baton Rouge.
Elsewhere, a team that I've been bullish on this offseason that, again, not necessarily flying as under the radar. We'll get to some more under the radar teams. But when you look at the Big Ten rankings, to me, I love Oregon's roster. Now, can they go and win the big game in the college football playoff under Dan Lanning? We'll see, but they returned Dante Moore. I think it was 14 total starters among their offense and the defense they return. They go and pick up some huge pieces in the portal. The safety out of Minnesota, Parrish.
Yep,
you don't get him, throw him into that defense. He's going to be a wrecker from them from the back end in terms of both coverage, ability to go up and stuff the run. That's a guy that having a high-level safety in college football can really change the fortunes of your defense. Not that they needed fortune changing, but I think they're going to be super, super solid. I would probably rank them. I know some of the advanced metrics out there don't. I would rank them above Ohio State. If I was ranking the Big Ten as it stands right now, I'd probably put still Indiana at 1 because they're the returning or defending national champion, and everything that Kurt Cignetti touches in the transfer portal seems to turn to gold. They have a good interior defensive line. They return some talent on the offensive line as well. They should be a high floor type team that kind of, hey, how can you continue your portal hit rate? If they can, I think they return as a top 5 team in college football yet again. Then I go Oregon, then I go Ohio State. But man, Ohio State is loaded for talent as well.
Yeah, and Ohio State decided to steal half of Alabama's roster in the offseason, so that was pretty funny. No,
they're loaded.
In terms of the top of the Big Ten, man, it's a grind. It's going to be a grind to figure out who's going to win. Like they're all probably going to beat up on each other and then beat up on a lot of the mid to smaller teams. But good for Indiana for dramatically shaking up the ball and changing their fortunes in a matter of a couple of off seasons and a couple of seasons. Like that's been pretty awesome for Indiana. But yeah, Oregon's absolutely loaded. Ohio State reloaded. Michigan, I thought, got better with their coaching addition, bringing in Jason Beck as their offensive coordinator, plus some of the portal pieces they got. I thought they got better. Yeah, it's the top of the Big Ten is going to be really, really tough this year, and there's plenty of really loaded teams out there.
A team that is under the radar for me, kind of nationally, I really like their transfer portal additions because you look at the type of players they went and got. I like what SMU put together this offseason. They had to go heavy on the transfer portal, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But they went and got some big time names out of the portal. Guys that here was what their portal strategy essentially was. They went and found high level high school recruits that got lost in the mix at big time schools. They got a defensive back, Javon Thomas from Texas A&M. He was a super high 4-star, kind of got shuffled around at A&M just a little bit, never quite got his sea legs under him. He's off to SMU. Jamal Anderson, a linebacker, high-level 4-star guy that went to Clemson, got kind of lost in the shuffle. Now he's at SMU. You have Jalen Hale from Alabama, a wide receiver, high-level 4-star, borderline 5-star that never quite got it to stick at Alabama. Now he's off to SMU. Trey Jackson, similar story, a tight end from Texas Tech. They just went and got guys that were super great athletes coming out of high school, got lost in the mix at those top-level college football programs, and now they get a second chance to come in and build things with SMU. Those are the type of guys that you're not going to hit 100% success rate on, but if you do hit a couple of those, they're potential huge difference makers that can lead you to a college football playoff. So I actually like SMU, and we've talked about this off the air as well. I think we're both Rhett Lashley fans.
Mm-hmm. We are. I've got a couple that are also flying under the radar. I think that Houston's going to be really good this year.
Okay.
I like Houston. They returned a lot of their core pieces. They brought in some nice additions. Willie Fritz there, another year. I thought he got the floor stabilized. So I like what Houston put together this offseason. I think they should be right at the top of the Big 12 contending this year. Maybe not as good as Texas Tech, but that is a solid double-digit win team for me. I think Houston, again, can repeat with double-digit wins. And then I really like what Missouri did this offseason. Big fan of Eli Drinkwitz and what he's been putting together down there in Missouri and doing his thing. But, man, they got some nice pieces, brought in a couple of Miami guys. They went around the country, kind of sprinkled in, got their needs together. I really like what they got going. They brought in Austin Simmons, who I think is an upgraded quarterback from what Bo Perbula was. They actually got Zayshawn Edwards from Houston Christian, who I think will be a really nice backup foil to Ahmad Hardy in that running back room. Really nice roster that Eli Drinkwitz has put together, even though he is a dork.
Where are you at with Oklahoma State? I know you're an Oklahoma guy. 50-plus transfer portal additions
They
offseason.
needed to overhaul that roster.
Oh, and it is 100% overhauled.
Oh, it is 100% overhauled, and they got some really nice people. I like Dominic Macon from Washington. Really like him. They got some they brought in some high level guys and also like some guys that they really enjoyed, like from Eric Morris's previous stop, like Drew Mestamaker. Yeah, getting him to Oklahoma State when he was very coveted in the portal. Getting him to Oklahoma State is massive. And then I believe they also got North Texas's #1 running back, Caleb Hawkins. So really awesome for them. Really high on what Oklahoma State can be. I think they go from a team that won like a game or two last year to being like an instantly bowl eligible level team. Like that should be what they are, and then make the leap in the years to come.
I mean, that's what the portal era allows you to do now. There is not going to be a different roster in college football in terms of overhaul from last year to this year than Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm.
That is a completely, and I say completely, how many, you're probably going to have like zero crossover from your 2 deep last year to this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be an entirely different 2 deep.
Yeah, and another team that I like that actually did some stuff with a quarterback that I'm really a big fan of. I thought Cal had a really nice offseason. I thought the Cal really put together some nice pieces in the portal. They went and got a couple of ex-Oregon guys. They also grabbed Marquise Groves-Killebrew, former Nebraska transfer portal commit before he decided to stay at Arizona, but he's going to Cal now. Hey, they also got Ian Strong from Rutgers. How about that? Guy was a pretty good receiver last year. And then how about a former Nebraska native, Jacob Arat from Bellevue West, going from South Dakota to Cal? Big jump for him. So really like what Cal was able to put together in the portal this year. I just thought they got some players in positions needs, and they got in big physical bodies. Really like what they're starting to do down there in Berkeley. I think that's going to be really, really good with what Cal's cooking, and also with one of my favorite quarterbacks in college football in JKS.
Speaking of former Nebraska natives, not a team that I'm super high on, but they could surprise because of their level of overhaul with a new head coach. The University of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, not a new head coach.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, a new head coach.
John Summerall.
Yeah, Summerall. Yeah. Jalen Lloyd playing for the University of Florida this year. That is a what is it? Let's check the numbers here. Is it 30 new transfer portal players? I still think they're probably a couple years away. I mean, they didn't really reel in any big fish in the portal that I can think of. But a team that's been overhauled roster-wise, and I'll be curious to see. How Summerall does down there.
Yeah, and they also got Eric Singleton Jr. from Auburn, so that's a nice pickup for them. After they kind of lost after Auburn lost Cam Coleman to the portal. Bad offseason for Auburn, by the way.
Yeah.
Not super fun. They also got Aaron Philo from Georgia Tech, who's a really intriguing quarterback who could be something. And then you get Jaden Lloyd in there, and they were also pretty high on getting DK Kalu from Baylor. So they had some nice additions. It's going to be a transition year or something where John Summerall really tries to build the foundation of what he wants Florida to be, but they're also recruiting at a high level right now. So,
recruiting at a high level. A name you didn't mention, Evan Pryor. We got to see him last year down in Kansas City. He started at Ohio State, then went to Cincinnati. Now he's down at Florida. Interesting running back addition there.
Yeah, and Evan Pryor was really, really solid. Yeah. And he's a guy who could probably instantly change the complexion of that running back group. Dynamic home run hitter, quick, jittery running back. So, yeah, Florida's got some nice pieces. They did lose a lot in the portal, which tends to happen, when your coaching staff turns over and does all that stuff. And now it's a chance for John Summerall to put his own imprint on this. And then, hey, Billy Napier at James Madison, and then Bob Chesney moves over to UCLA. A lot of turnover. So maybe JMU is just a place that Billy Napier can kind of revitalize his stock and get back into a more prominent role in the college football coaching landscape.
One more team for you I want you to get your thoughts on. I know you've been high on them. Lay out the Northwestern Wildcats for me.
Dude, okay. I get they might have the toughest schedule in college football. I totally understand that. I see that. I kind of like what they brought in. I was looking at this yesterday with my buddy, and we both looked at each other mutually in a Red Robin as we were eating a $10.99 meal deal and said, Northwestern? Yeah, that's a bowl eligible team.
They could be one of those teams that is the most dangerous 6-6 team in the country when it's all said and done.
Yeah, so they grabbed Dominic Kirks from Ohio State, who I'm actually a big fan of when I watch the tape. That's pretty good. They grabbed Monte Pate, who's a really intriguing big corner from Weber State. So they got a couple of those guys. They got Markel Porter from Bowling Green, Arkel Anugwam from Alabama, who's an offensive tackle, and then you get Gavin Sawchuk from Florida State. So that's pretty cool. They get Alex Honig, who's a big tight end from UConn, standing 6'7", 270. I mean, that's almost a tackle there, Elijah. And then they brought in Aiden Childs as kind of their upside transfer, but then you also get Luke Deneke in the boat as another tight end, and then they got former, Nebraska Cornhusker Grant Seagren, who I actually think is still a pretty good offensive line. So I like what Northwestern did in the portal, even though they lost a couple of their bigger name guys. I like what Northwestern was able to do in the portal just to supplement their roster and get themselves a better foundation. And unlike the other team in the state, like Illinois, they didn't really get rated a whole lot in the portal. They were able to keep a lot of their main guys. really excited for what Northwestern's going to be able to put on tape. I really like David Braun, and I think that this team has a chance to surprise some people and win like 7 or 8 games.
So that's a look around college football. Some of the we hit some of the popular names, some of the unpopular names, some of the names that we think are going to be exceeding some expectations.
Oh, really quickly, your thoughts on Florida State? I like Mike Norvell the person.
I'm with you on that. It feels like a sinking ship.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, they might be in search of a new head man.
Whenever the vibes are out the window, which I feel like the vibes for Florida State have been out the window ever since they got who's the quarterback that got hurt? What's his name?
Jordan Travis.
Ever since Jordan Travis went down and they did not get a college football playoff appearance
while being undefeated,
it's felt like the vibes have been out the window. And the way they handled that as a team, didn't love it. And then the way they come back and respond, and they go, what was it, 2-10, 1-11? They were awful. And then they beat Bama, and you go, okay, maybe they're back. No. The vibes are out the window for Florida State. And once you lose the vibes, once you lose the momentum, you're fighting an uphill battle. And Norvell's got an uphill battle. I think it's the beginning of the end.
They got Ashton Daniels. He's cool. Like, he's nice, but yeah, I agree with you. It feels like a sinking ship.
Anything short of Florida State in the ACC of like 9-3.
Yeah.
And Norvell's probably out the door.
Yeah, and they've really whiffed in the portal recently. Like, they had a big boom portal class with Jared Verse and bringing in Jordan Travis and those guys. And then after that, they like haven't recruited at all in the grassroots. Like, they have not been a great high school recruiting outfit. And the portal, they've really missed out on some of their evaluations. So he went with a lot of smaller school guys, brought in a transfer quarterback from Iowa Western as well to compete with Ashton Daniels. Florida State's in a bit of a flux, and it feels like Mike Norvell is kind of taking his last gas, even though he has a $100 million contract. Good Lord above, that's a lot of money.
That's probably the only reason he still has a job.
Can I look into a $100 million contract? Can we do that?
Being a bought out college football coach from a Power 4 school is the dream job.
Why do you think Jimbo Fisher's never taken another job?
He's good.
He got $75 million, man. If you can't live off $75 million in this country, I don't know what to tell you, man. You're doing something wrong.
So. I don't feel bad for Norvell if he gets fired, but he's lost the momentum for that.
I feel bad for Mike Norvell, the person, if he gets fired. But Mike Norvell, the coach, he kind of made his own bed, and it was made of nails.
Well, there's a look around the college football world. I know Jeff Moats, he's searching for a pair of headphones. He'll be joining us here in just a moment. He has sat down in studio, gotten himself into our stream setup. And again, you can always find the Morning Hookup stream-wise. The Morning Hookup YouTube channel. You can also find KFOR on both Facebook and Twitter/X, and you can find the live stream every single day. See our beautiful faces. We have some conversations during the commercial break that you guys can hang out if you're not a fan of ads. So check out the Morning Hookups live stream online 5 days a week, 9 to 11. All right, Jeff Moats joining us here in the studios of KFOR. We'll step aside, and when we return, we'll talk some high school sports, some Legion baseball with the Almanac, Moatsy.
Okay.
Moatsy, how familiar are you with early to mid-90s WCW?
Somewhat.
It's a rather prominent name I'm going to throw at you here. Again, it's with this particular theme, which is one of, I think, maybe the greatest wrestling themes of all time.
Okay.
Certainly underrated.
Okay.
So just wait. Just wait. I got it ready for you.
You turn on my headphone there. Yes, sir. Right. Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
Don't worry, Moatsy.
All right.
What would you also say is your sport of expertise? So we have the trivia question ready.
Basketball.
Basketball. Okay.
That's always been kind of my bread and butter. But I have known to be wrong on some things in the past. So.
How good is your knowledge on the NBA in the 1980s?
Decent.
Okay. I've got a trivia question for you then. We're good.
All right.
We're good. Corn Raider, didn't Jimbo get bought out twice? Did he get bought out twice? Am I thinking of that right? Because he was at Florida State.
Yeah, and got bought out and spent, what was it, a year away?
Yes. Or did he might? I think Corn Raider might be right, because he might have gotten bought out at Florida State and then definitely got bought out at A&M with that $75 million contract.
I think he got bought out at Florida State, spent a year away from the game.
Million.
Think about that, because we were talking about Emotzi. Mike Norvell's under $100 million contract. Could you imagine him getting laid off, them paying $100 million? We were kind of doing the math earlier. LSU probably grossly, in terms of a gross number, spent like $200 million this offseason.
It doesn't surprise me
with the Brian Kelly buyout, with having to pay for Lane Kiffin's buyout and the contract you signed him to, plus whatever you put into your roster. It's probably a $200 million offseason.
Well, it's become you fellas know this. It's become a business, and when you're playing with big money, I mean, you're in the big leagues primarily. I mean, college football. I can remember a time when, that was not necessarily a major item was money. I mean, unless you were donating into a program.
Right.
But I mean, now with NIL, I mean, that's big deal.
But by the way, doing some research here, Jimbo Fisher did kind of get bought out from Florida State, but it was a negotiated buyout with A&M down the road, where he was his buyout became essentially just a buyout for his assistants that were not retained.
I got you.
So he didn't get any personal buyout money from Florida State. It was just, hey, if you don't retain any of your assistants that you had here at Florida State at Texas A&M, they will get their money in full.
Nice. All right, here we go.
Welcome back in.
What
Good morning,
in the
Hookup.
wide world of sports?
I was going to let this run and see where it went.
Just listen, Motzi.
So wonderful.
Is this Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff?
It is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
I never knew that this was his ring entrance theme.
This was his WCW ring entrance theme.
Man, what were they thinking?
They changed it from his WWF entrance theme, and this was his WCW entrance theme, which was, if I might say, one of the greatest wrestling entrances of all time.
Man, I don't know about that.
No. You got to watch it with this whole presentation, Motzi. It's kind of aura.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's kind of awesome.
No.
What's the Almanac Jeff Moats with this here?
You got it right.
Wow. Well, I heard wonderful, and I'm like, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff?
Mm-hmm.
And Elijah's like, who's that?
Yeah, I'm this is going straight over my head over here. If you're a wrestling fan, you're welcome. If you're not, you're with me. Confused.
Who is Billy Jack Haynes?
Oh, there's a name.
You remember his ring attire was the colors were the colors of the University of Oregon, because he was from I think from Eugene.
Yeah, and then for his pay-per-views, he would wear the specific pair of black trunks and black boots and Oregon down the side.
Yeah. I mean, he was pretty devoted to Oregon Ducks.
He's an Oregon guy. And we don't need to talk about what happened outside of the ring.
No.
Not at all.
Well, it's Motzi with us here. Ready to talk some prep sports, maybe some more wrestling. We'll see. But Motzi,
no, we're not going to do wrestling.
That's off the air.
Motzi Legion season in full swing. Got a big tournament this weekend.
Yeah.
You had the J.C. Bragger seniors of Lincoln Southeast earlier this week.
Yeah, we
did
that. That was a regular season game where they played Sagewell Orthopedic, which is Lincoln Northwest. Of course, for folks that are just tuning in, we say these business names. These are sponsors for these Legion teams, because traditionally Legion baseball has not necessarily been affiliated with a school. It's always been a sponsor, but a lot of times these teams are comprised of players from specific schools in town. That's how it's always been. But J.C. Bragger did that game yesterday, or on Tuesday, not yesterday, but Tuesday, over at Den Hartog with Sagewell, and it was a scoreless ball game. I thought it was going to become a pitching duel. Thu Malone and I were over there, and things got interesting in the third inning, and it was Jaden Kirk that delivered a 3-run triple, and then there was an RBI single, and then they were batting around in the inning. All right, so you had a 4-0 lead. They're batting around, And I don't know if you got the highlight queued up yet, Justice.
Yeah, quick semantics question here for you as Justice gets that loaded up. Do you consider batting around to be 9 batters at plate or 10?
If you go through the order, okay, if everybody in the order has batted
and you come back
in an inning and you go back up to the guy that led off in the inning, that is batting around.
Okay. Because I remember Michael Dixon and I would have this conversation with Salt Dogs broadcast, whether the 9th batter at plate, so if everyone has batted, is that batting around, or do you need to have that batter get his second at bat at the same inning?
You have to get, if you go through the order, if you go all 9 batters, but you don't have that same guy that led off an inning come back up in the same inning, that's not batting around.
I agree.
This is argued in baseball because there's the 2 different wavelengths here where some people think, well, if everyone bats in the inning, you've batted around.
No.
Other people say you have to have that 10th batter come up.
The guy that led off the inning
has to come back
up. And if they keep going, you bat around.
I agree with that.
Because it wouldn't be bad. Because then, like the case where Fernando Tatis Sr. hit 2 grand slams in an inning would not be batting around because he would have never gotten up to the plate the second time.
But I don't think has that ever been done since then?
No.
I don't think
it hasn't.
No.
Well,
anyway, I asked because that is a discussion. There are folks that do think that once your 9th batter gets up to the plate, you have batted around.
And those people are wrong.
I think they have batted through.
Has there been anybody, and this is way before you guys were even a thought, this is back when I was a kid, Bob Horner from the Atlanta Braves hit 4 home runs in a game. And I think there were a couple of them that were 2-run shots, and I think the rest were solo.
Wasn't there a guy from the Reds who did it?
And I don't know if it's been done since. That was like 1985 when Bob Horner did it. That was back when the Braves were fun to watch with Murph and Bob Horner, Claudel Washington, Rafael Ramirez, Gene Garber is the relief pitcher that threw the sidearm, Rick Mailer and all those guys. I mean, these are names that you guys wouldn't even know.
It happened 3 times last year, mostly.
Okay,
so Kyle Schwarber from the Phillies did it in August 28th against the Braves.
Okay.
Nick Kurtz was the first rookie in MLB history to do it when he hit it against the Astros. And then Eugenio Suarez did it against the Braves on April 26th.
Okay, so there. My answer has been delivered. So anyway, all right, so it's 4-0 J.C. Bragger. We're in the 3rd inning, batting around. And here comes Liam George, and he steps up, and he decides to tee off with the bases loaded. 2 out, runners occupying the bases at 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, so bases are loaded. The pitch from Olsen. Fastball hit high in the air, deep to left field, drifting all the way back, and that's a grand slam off the scoreboard for Liam George as he takes the tour. A grand salami off the scoreboard in left. And this game has been burst wide open. There you go, 8-0 at that point.
Is there any, from a vibes point of view, a home run off the scoreboard at Din Hartog?
Oh, I mean, he
incredible.
It was a moonshot. It was a moonshot that he hit. And so it was 8-0. It ended up being 11-2 in 5 innings. Now, the run rule in Legion baseball, it's not 10 after 5, it's 8 after 5.
15 after 3 and 8 after 5.
Right. So to clarify.
Yeah.
And I think that those rules still apply when they get to state, if I'm not mistaken. So those same rules apply. So it's slightly different what they have in the high school season. So J.C. Bragger gets a win over Sagewell Orthopedics of Lincoln Northwest. And now both teams are competing today in the Mike Peterson Coach K Lincoln Legion Coaches Baseball Tournament, this has been around since 1979. And back then it was called the Lincoln Legion Coaches Tournament or the 4th of July Tournament because it was usually played around the 4th of July. Well, in the last decade, they've bumped it up earlier simply because the Legion schedule allows them to do it, and it's now in late June. And they go 4 days. They'll go Thursday. They went yesterday. We'll tell you some scores that we got from yesterday in just a moment, but they'll go all day today, all day tomorrow. They'll play the division championship for the National League at 11 on Sunday morning, the AL championship at 1:30, and then the championship game of the tournament will be at 4 o'clock. So all these games that are being played, well, yesterday included, today, tomorrow, are all pool play games. You've got 20 teams in town this weekend. You have all the Lincoln schools except for Lincoln High You have Pinnacle Bank of Southwest, Carpetland of Lincoln East, Pius X being represented by Union Bank, J.C. Bragger represented by Lincoln Southeast, Judd's Brothers represented by Lincoln Northeast, Anderson Ford, Lincoln North Star, Lincoln Hotel Group, Lincoln Standing Bear, Sagewell Orthopedics of Lincoln Northwest. Then you got Empire Netting and Fence from Waverly that's in town, Norris's Legion team also represented. Then you bring in Bellevue West, Grand Island, Elkhorn South, Elkhorn North, Kearney, Papillion La Vista South, Papillion La Vista, Sioux Falls West, Sioux Falls East, Gretna East, among the teams that are in town this weekend. So you got 20 teams, 4 different divisions. You're playing at the Sandhills Complex today, Den Hartog Field, and Sherman Field today and tomorrow. And then everything goes over to the Sandhills Complex on Sunday to determine the division champions and then the champion overall of that tournament.
So you have 4 divisions and 20 teams. So is it 5 teams in a division?
5 teams per division.
In a pool play bracket?
Yeah, pool play bracket. So
everyone from your division.
Yeah, so basically they're playing right now. They got games going on at 3 fields at 10 o'clock. They got games at 12:30. They'll go at 3, 5:30, and 7:30 today, tonight, tomorrow night. And then the Sandhills Complex will host the division championship for the National League at 11 on Sunday, and then 1:30 for the AL championship, and then the championship game again will be at 4 o'clock Sunday afternoon. That's all weather permitting, but I'm telling you right now, the better weather in terms of temperatures are going to be today and tomorrow, and then Sunday that heat wave is going to move in, and it's going to be stifling out there playing baseball, and we'll find out who'll be the champion of that Coach K, Mike Peterson tournament. Now, to kind of clarify the history of the tournament, I mentioned earlier that it was originally the Lincoln Legion coaches and the 4th of July tournament. Well, in 1996, it was rebranded in honor of Mike Peterson, who was a former athlete and baseball player at Lincoln Northeast and later served as head coach of Northeast Senior Legion team, Judd's Brothers Construction. He also helped coach football at Lincoln East. And he suddenly passed away at the age of 27 in 1996. So we're approaching, in October, will be the 30th anniversary of his passing. And I knew Pete, and Pete was a guy that he was a big kid. That's all he was. He had a heart of gold. He was someone that was almost like a cartoon character, lifelike cartoon character. He was very passionate about education, athletics, coaching kids, getting them to be the best they could be. But he was funny. He could have been a stand-up comedian if he really wanted to, I thought. But Pete was just a great guy, and a lot of people that either played for him or knew him miss him to this day dearly. And we wonder what life would have been like if he's been alive today. Just very much. He would have been a head coach at a high school someplace, either in town or in the state. He was well liked by everybody. And then the Coach K part is in honor of Doug Kaltenberger, who was a longtime teacher and baseball coach at both Lincoln Northeast and at Lincoln Southwest. He was also an assistant basketball coach at Northeast when I played in the early to mid-'90s, and had him as a teacher too, health teacher. Another person that truly deeply cared about kids' success in the classroom, on the field, on the court. He always wanted to make sure that you were doing the best you could each and every day, and he'd always leave with some words of wisdom when we leave class. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, people. Enjoy it. And so when he passed away 10 years ago in 2016, he was also the same year he was also honored as our Coach of the Year, the Ralph Beechner Coach of the Year from the KFOR Sportscasters Club, because Southwest had such a great baseball season in 2015 that they came up 1 win short of going to a state championship game, and we honored him for his success. And that's why the tournament was rebranded and naming in honor of those two fine people and what they did to the Lincoln community from a baseball standpoint, sports standpoint, and even in education too.
So a huge tournament this weekend, Motzi. As we start looking ahead here, this obviously was a tournament, you mentioned it, used to be on the 4th of July weekend. It's since been moved up. As we do start looking ahead to the 4th of July, already inching your way towards area tournaments and state tournaments coming here. This is the pretty much last big tournament of the year before teams start ramping up.
It is, and I know there have been some teams that have played, I think, in some wood bat tournaments, or they've played out of state. I know Carpetland of Lincoln East a couple of weeks back, they played in a big tournament out in Cincinnati, and there have been others that have been down in Kansas City. And I think after this tournament, that's where you got maybe a couple of regular season games left. Plus, you got the Cornhusker League Championship that has to be determined. And then shortly thereafter is when the area tournaments will get assembled. And the Area 5 is always here in Lincoln. They'll either play it at Sandhills or at Den Hartog. And then Area 6 will include a couple of Lincoln teams that will go up there. That's something new in the last couple of years since the addition of Standing Bear and Northwest to the league. And so they're doing a rotation where at least 2 Lincoln teams will go to the Area 6, which is, I believe, up in South Sioux City this year. It's been in Fremont also, but I think it's back up in South Sioux this year. And then the Area 5 will be here in Lincoln. And with that said, typically how the state tournament is decided, the final 2 teams that make the area championships will go to state. Now, whoever is the champion will go to one division being played up at Elkhorn North this year. That's the American division of the state tournament. And then either the winner or loser, depending on how the area tournaments are set up, will go to the national division, which is being held out in Kearney. So, and I know Lincoln in recent years has hosted state, but they rotate state tournament sites every year. I know Ryder Park in Grand Island's been one spot. Usually a field in Omaha is another one, and then, of course, Lincoln occasionally. But it's in between those communities usually where you see those state tournaments being played. But, yeah, that'll be happening here in the next month or so. So in a month, we're going to be talking state tournament baseball.
All right, Motzi, before you get you out, I got a trivia question for you. I hope you're ready. Can you tell me who scored the most points in the National Basketball Association in the decade of the 1980s? I'll give you a hint. He played for the Denver Nuggets.
I know this one.
Is it Alex English?
It is Alex English. Congratulations.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Scored over 20,000 points in the 1980s alone.
I didn't realize that.
One of the more underappreciated scorers in NBA history.
Well, yeah. And the Denver Nuggets were not really that relevant.
No, it was like him. Right. It was him. It was Dan Isol. They had Fat Lever there for a little bit, but that was
Kiki Vanderway.
Vanderway.
He was there.
But the problem being the Nuggets were not very good through the 80s, so Alex English just got to score a lot of points every season.
Alex English was.
Well, Alex English was the entire offense for the Nuggets.
And he was like a prototype, like 6'8" wing. Like when you think of a modern wing, like Alex English is pretty close to a modern
wing. Michael Jordan has talked about the influence that his game had because of Alex English coming into the league. Watching what Alex English could do on the wing as a scorer, Jordan talked about how much that influenced him, and he's also talked about how underappreciated he feels Alex English is in NBA history.
Unfortunately for him, Alex English is about 2 inches taller than he was, so he had some capabilities that even Jordan didn't.
Well, and Alex English could jump out of the gym. The kind of the old wives' tale in Denver is that he used to be able to grab a penny off the top of the backboard.
Yeah.
That was what it was said, and who knows if it's true or not, but they said that if you put a penny on the top of the backboard, Alex English could go up and grab that penny off the top of the backboard.
Jordan used to watch a lot of Denver Nuggets because he was also a huge fan of David Skywalker Thompson back in the day when he was coming out of NC State.
Oh, yeah. I mean, being a North Carolina kid growing up, and you see David Thompson, I mean, he was quite the college player, and he had a pretty good career in the pros early on in his NBA career. And, and then, of course, the Nuggets are now, they went from the ABA now to the NBA. When that merger happened 50 years ago when that merger happened. And a lot of things changed. The game, obviously the 3-point shot was added in a few years later. I think it was in the 79-80 season that they added the 3-point shot to the NBA. And that was something that the ABA had in its entirety. And look what the 3-point shot has done, not just in the NBA, but basketball at all levels. I mean, how many people that play the game are shooting 3-point shots? There's a lot.
It's almost everyone that plays now.
Well, yeah. Even the big men. Yeah. You got to be able to step out and shoot the 3 if you have to. It's not just staying down low on the block. You got to be able to come out and shoot the 3.
It's essentially there's a few notable exceptions of guys who are just physical specimen freaks. But if you can't shoot the 3 ball, you just can't play the game of basketball at a high level.
Well, unless you're Shaq.
Yes, there's the few notable freak athlete exceptions, but they're few and far between. They're growing even rarer and rarer as the years go on.
Alex English. That's a name I have not thought of or even talked about in a long time.
And we talked about Jordan. I didn't realize he was from South Carolina as well. So David Thompson, North Carolina, Alex English, South Carolina. There's the Jordan connection of guys that kind of grew up in the area of Jordan.
And of course, Jordan grew up on the coast in Wilmington.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. And people might not realize, I mean, that's kind of a trick question for a lot of people. Some might think it's Bird or Magic, maybe Jordan in a short amount of time, considering, when the Bulls picked him up, he was the guy. You didn't have Scottie Pippen just yet, or John Paxson or Bill Cartwright or some of those other guys that came along.
Armstrong, yeah.
B.J. Armstrong. I mean, those guys were still playing. Well, Cartwright was a veteran because he'd been in the league a while.
He was traveled.
But he was not in Chicago at that point. But like B.J. Armstrong, I think John Paxson was still playing college ball.
Yeah, Ron Harper wasn't there yet.
No, Ron Harper wasn't there yet either. None of those guys were there yet. It was mainly Michael. Then all of a sudden, everything started building up, and you bring in Scottie Pippen, and then you move Phil Jackson over from being an assistant to the head coach.
The rest is history.
And bingo.
Should be noted, Michael Jordan did lead the 1980s in points per game.
But not scoring.
Because he just wasn't there. But he did have 32.6 points per game in the 80s.
You guys would have loved watching NBA basketball then. I mean, it was well choreographed from a play standpoint, how they distributed the ball. It wasn't just transition up and down the floor. They were actually running offenses. And even in the transition game, it was utilized very well, I thought.
So I'm just looking here. Not only did Alex English lead the NBA in points, he also led the NBA in minutes.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's all they had out in Denver.
Yeah. Would anyone like to guess who was second in the NBA in the 1980s in scoring?
Bird.
Bird was fourth.
Kareem
was fifth.
Give me a clue.
He's named after a character of the Bible.
Isaiah Thomas?
No.
Good guess. Like that.
That's a good guess, though. Played down south in Texas.
David Robinson? No, not Dave. No, he didn't come along till the late 80s. I give up.
Moses Malone.
Oh, Moses
Malone's second.
He played, that's when he was playing for the Rockets.
He was just under 2,000 points shy of Alex English. He scored 19,000 points. And then in third, Adrian Dantley.
Yeah, Adrian Dantley, before he went to Detroit, he was the guy.
Yeah.
Because he was out in Utah, I believe. And I don't know if he played. Did he play in Seattle? Now, Dennis Johnson played in Seattle.
Dennis Johnson did play in Seattle.
And he won a world title with them. And then he went to Phoenix. And then from Phoenix, he went to Boston.
Adrian Dantley played for 7 teams.
Another criminally underrated career.
Primarily the Jazz and Pistons. Though.
That's right.
Anyway, yeah.
There we go.
Dantley averaged over 26 points per game. But anyway,
baller.
Thank you, Moats. Sitting down with us.
You bet. Have a good sports weekend, fellas. Take care.
There goes Jeff Moats. We'll step aside when we return. We'll have a few stories that we missed.
Bing, bada, boom. That's good stuff.
Oh, by the way, from your email this morning, it's going to be Brady working the doubleheader tomorrow.
All right.
Both games.
And that's going to be a 2:35 pregame.
2:35 pregame, 3:05 first pitch.
Do you want the same playlist?
Yeah, double it up. It's gonna be a 7-inning game.
I'm going to extend it probably till about 8:30-ish.
Okay.
Give or take.
That'll work.
So.
And I'll be off the baseball diamond at 5:30-ish tomorrow.
I got my class reunion tonight and tomorrow night. 30 years, fellas. Just wait till you get to that point. That's where you go to find out, okay, are your kids still in school? Have they grown up? Are you a grandparent yet? That sort of thing.
The concept of having kids right now.
Concept of having grandparents.
I was in your position at one point, my friend.
I'm 22, man. I got my whole life ahead of me. I got a wonderful girlfriend, and we are not at that point yet.
Just take your time.
Hey, nice and slow. Just nice and easy.
Yeah. Get established.
Mm-hmm.
Then you move.
Yeah.
The next.
I'm gonna wait till I'm making more money till I get.
Well,
kids.
of course.
Yeah. You can't have kids when you're making below 50,000 a year.
Let's just say this: when I was 22 in 1999, I was a far cry from settling down and starting a family.
Good
I
man.
wasn't even remotely close to that point yet.
I'm still not close to that point. But I'm inching closer.
Hey, a couple of women, they come your way. You never know.
From a bachelorette party in South Dakota.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but hey, sometimes when life gives you lemons, you either make lemonade or you throw them at people passing by.
I brought this up at the wedding last night. I need the bride and groom to throw together scouting reports for the single folks at the wedding.
Corn Raider, who did we lose from our class? I must have went to school with Corn Raider. I don't know who Corn Raider is by handle. And you don't have to say on the chat who you are.
It's okay.
Just come shake hands with Motzi.
Shake hands, kiss babies, grab lunch.
Flood X10 says, Pete, my favorite ball coach. Yes. Everybody loved Pete.
Guys, the Thunder traded Isaiah Joe for 2 second-round picks. What is Sam Presti cooking?
Well, they had to clear roster space.
Yeah, he's giving the space for Bennett Sturts, but I like Isaiah Joe. Kind of stinks.
To the Pistons?
I'm out, fellas.
Thank you, Motzi.
News is calling here. Got to do a newscast.
Ring, 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 ring. Real life's happening.
Appreciate you, Motzi.
Yep.
That's a good pickup for the Pistons, though.
Yeah, they need shooting.
I like that. Yeah, they need shooting.
And we get 2 seconds.
And he's a guy that understands the playoffs, and that's what the Pistons, I don't think they need to add any more young gun role players. They need, and Joe's not a vet, but he's close.
Yeah, he's a solid, established NBA player.
Yes, that's what they need.
We got some stories that we missed we got to get into. Like some quick ones.
Down. I just closed it. I timed out.
It'll be fine.
You'll be good.
That laptop is bulletproof at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to get on there and send a scathing email and Jeff Motes. No, I'm kidding. I would never do that to Motzi. Should I come back? Been planned here. We got stories that we missed, don't we? There are some recent developing stories that we did indeed miss. Mainly, what is Fred Hoiberg cooking? Can you stay awake for 3 minutes?
Yes, I'm good.
Good man.
Got a leg day at the gym after this.
Oh boy. All righty, here we go.
It's just the two of us, Justice Rhodey and Elijah Herbal, taking you through the final few minutes of a Friday edition of the Morning Hookup, getting you geared up for the weekend. And before we get you out, let's get to some stories that we missed.
The stories we missed. The Morning Hookup.
So a big story that we missed going on. What is Fred Hoiberg cooking? Somebody get him out of the kitchen because, I don't know, he might cook up a 5-course meal. 5-star forward Dawson Batiste says he is back in Lincoln October 9th through the 11th, a second official visit for Nebraska. But he has a great reputation, great relationship with the staff, highly regarded in basketball circles. 5-star prospect making his way to Lincoln for his second official visit. Nebraska, a serious player in that recruitment for Fred Hoiberg.
What dates?
October 9th and 11th.
So, Indiana weekend.
Yes, Indiana weekend. So nice job by Fred Hoiberg. And hey, on the other recruiting front, Steve Wiltfong has logged an official prediction for Nebraska to land 4-star wide receiver Khalil Taylor.
Yes, this was some news. Was that yesterday? I believe.
Yes.
Khalil Taylor. It seems like it's down to Nebraska and Penn State. Nebraska coming off of a visit weekend from Khalil Taylor last weekend. Some serious momentum there. Khalil Taylor, pre-James Franklin firing, seemed to be a lock to go to Penn State. Matt Campbell's kind of changed some things up there in that recruitment. I mean, he's a guy that's from the area around Penn State. I think taken almost 20 unofficial visits to Penn State. It felt like he was going to be a Nittany Lion, but after spending the weekend in Lincoln, Nebraska hot and heavy on his heels, and Matt Campbell, just not James Franklin up there. Nebraska closed the ground significantly and might be securing the commitment of Khalil Taylor soon. So that's exciting news.
That's really exciting news. In other news, in the NBA, another trade goes down as Isaiah Joe is now a Detroit Piston. We talked about that in the stream-only version of the Morning Hookup that you can view on the Morning Hookup YouTube channel. But
it's a move to clear roster space for the Thunder. They have a backlog of a whole bunch of players, and you can't fit them all on the roster, so they had to start offloading some guys.
And hey, nice pickup by the Pistons because you always need a floor spacer. Nothing wrong with getting a true bona fide shooter to help out a team that really was in desperate need of some spacing during the season.
I think the one more thing the Pistons could use, and we talked about the Pistons briefly back in hour one, they could use a second ball handler.
Yeah, they desperately need it. Another story that we missed, the Mets say enough is enough. They've fired manager Carlos Mendoza after a 34-47 start to the season. So New York Mets will again be under new management starting next season.
Well, that'll do it for us here on a Friday edition of The Morning Hookup. Hope everyone enjoys their weekend. We'll be back chatting with you on a Monday where we'll have Bill Hooks back in studio. We'll have YZ back in studio. We'll have plenty to discuss, including some more World Cup games. How did the youth tournaments go for YZ and Hooksy? We'll figure that out on Monday morning, 9 to 11 on The Morning Hookup.